Hello, my beautifuls. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so sorry I was gone and I wasn't making videos for a little bit because I was just getting adjusted to my new schedule. I got a new job, so that's really nice. And life has been lifing, right? So, but I'm back and I'm better than ever. And I'm so sorry to keep you ladies waiting. That's my fault because I said I was going to post every 2 weeks. I'm going to try to keep consistent with that because I love spreading information to my ladies, and I'm just super excited to get into today's video. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. I'm so excited about today's episode. I feel like this is gonna be one of my best episodes that I've ever done. I'm just super enthusiastic, and I'm very excited to share this information with you guys because I've done a lot of research on this type of stuff, and you can probably already tell by the title. It's how to become absolutely magnetic to everything that you've ever wanted and everything that is meant for you, and how to get that to attract towards you, like for reals. It's super cool, but before we get into that, we're actually going to get into the scientific reasoning behind how this actually works. It's really cool. So I'm just super excited to tell you guys. Okay, so I'm just going to get my notes here. Sorry, I got my notes just so I can make sure that I got my notes here. Okay, so let's go into the different types of nervous systems. So first you have your sympathetic nervous system and you have your parasympathetic nervous system, okay? So your sympathetic nervous system is actually survival mode, okay? This is your fight or flight response. This turns on when your brain thinks you're in danger, okay? Especially even emotional danger, okay? So what does this feel like? This feels like a speeded up heart rate, okay? Shallow breathing, okay? Releases stress hormones. So anytime you're feeling stressed or unsafe, you get really tense, you get really like alert, like you're scared, right? Because something's happening. And sometimes your body can be in fight or flight mode when there's no danger around, because your body keeps track. Okay, I was actually learning this with my therapist, my old therapist. She was in the therapy business for about 2 decades now. So she has a lot of knowledge in this, but she was telling me that your body keeps track, okay? So it keeps track of all the painful moments that you've been through, all of the hurtful things people have said to you, and all the painful things that you have done to yourself or somebody else has done to you, okay? And until you heal that, your body is going to continue to attract those kind of situations, unfortunately, because energy is everything. And if you don't figure that out, like if you don't deal with it, like in your subconscious brain, you can be scared of things, or things might take you off and you don't know why. Well, it's because your body is responding to something that it went through in the past, okay? And it could be a trauma, okay? How this makes you feel, this can make you feel very anxious, right? You can get really defensive sometimes. You can start overthinking. You can get very impatient, overreactive, and very closed off emotionally, okay? So when you're in this sympathetic nervous system, you aren't able to seek out opportunities for you, right? Because you're always in your fight or flight. You're scared, right? You're defensive. You're not really open to new change. You're not really open to new opportunities. So those new opportunities don't have an opportunity to find you, because you are putting yourself and continuously stressing yourself out to the point where your body thinks your sympathetic nervous system is normal, which it is not, okay? Your brain isn't focused on growth. It isn't focused on creativity. It isn't focused on new possibilities. It's focused on survival, okay? So you're focusing on survival. You're not going to want to take that risk. You're not going to go and want to do something new with your life, right? Because action turns into results. So you're not even going to be taking the steps necessary to get there because your body is in flight or fight mode. And that is a very unsafe and unhealthy place to be. And it can eventually lead to life regrets, which we don't want to do that, okay? And we want to make sure that we're making the right decisions for ourselves. It's 2026, and this information is very new to people, but it's something that needs to be spread more, because this is really how you get out of that fight or flight mode. Is awareness, right? Is understanding this. Okay, I have to start working on myself. I have to start learning new things and starting putting myself in new environments so I can get new opportunities. Okay, so that's how it works. Yeah, so another thing that this can cause you to misinterpret situations, okay? Well, so when somebody says something, you might take it to heart, but that's not exactly what they mean, right? That they're not coming for you. And sometimes you can feel like I'll give you guys a task. How about when you're talking to somebody or in any conversation, when you feel like angry or you feel something that somebody said and it like angers you or it makes you feel a certain way, think about that and be like, why do I feel like this? Why does this get me angry? Okay. And tell yourself, okay, why am I getting so defensive, right? Start listening to your body, feel that emotion. Okay. So we can release it and we can move on to the next step in our lives. You also can assume the worst. So this will lead you not to taking any risks, right? Because you're going to assume the worst instead of assuming, okay, what if it does happen? I think as humans, we tend to assume the worst about every situation. So we try to plan everything. But even when you plan everything, things can still go wrong, right? So it's very important to get out of that sympathetic nervous system, because you're just going to assume bad all the time and assume things won't work, or you're assume that you can't do that because then this is likely to happen. But that's not how life works. Okay, yeah, you can there's predictability, right? But like at the same time, you always got to be open to new, right? Another thing is you can react instead of responding. Okay, this is how fights happen, this is how mistakes happen, right? You start to respond to certain things because you're in your sympathetic nervous system. Okay, as well as you can struggle to feel gratitude, peace, or love, right? You won't be able to bear the future fruits of the spirit in sympathetic nervous system when you are in your survival state. This is why it's very important to know about these things, and it's very important to heal and to get into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is what we are going to be talking about next. Okay, so the parasympathetic nervous system, this is where creation happens, okay? This is where your life is flowing. This is where all your energy comes from, okay? Your parasympathetic nervous system is your rest, connect, heal mode, okay? This is where you're calm in your state of being. This is where you can consciously make decisions, where you're not so tense and you can actually flow freely. Okay, so this turns on when you feel safe. Okay, emotionally safe too. It's the exact opposite of the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is your heart rate slows down. Okay, breathing deepens. Okay, when you feel calm. That's why it's very, very, very healthy, especially if you're trying to heal, to meditate, because you can put your body into that parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, that's why meditation is so important when you're dealing with big traumas. Letting your body rest. You don't even have to go at the trauma. You just need to stop. Okay, and you need to meditate for at least 2 minutes. I know that can seem hard, but it is hard. This work is not easy. Nobody said it's going to be easy. Okay, this kind of stuff actually takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication. Okay, and that's why there is separation from regular people and then people who actually make it in life and do something with their life and become better. And that can look different for everybody. This activates higher brain functionalities. Okay, when you're always in your parasympathetic nervous system, you can see more clearly. Okay, you have a lot more clarity, you have a lot more empathy, and you become more creative. That's why when you see people who are living in their survival state, they make really bad decisions. They're not empathetic. They can't take accountability. They're not creative. They just do what they're told. They're not living for themselves, right? They're living for survival, okay? And so that's why when anybody does anything that is meant to harm you, or you think that, they're evil, the reason why is because they are living from their sympathetic nervous system, and there's nothing that you can do about that. You let that person be who that person is, because unfortunately you cannot change somebody. It doesn't matter how loving you are. That is that person, and until they deal with their own demons, you cannot get in the way of somebody's healing. You can't get in the way of somebody's suffering. You have to let them suffer. You cannot take somebody's suffering from them, because suffering brings change. Okay, so that's why bad things happen sometimes, is because we need them to happen, because we need to wake up. Okay, so look at life as like a game. Okay, so whenever something hard comes into your life, remember this: it's guiding me to who the person I want to become. Okay, think about the end, have the end in mind. Okay, always have the end in mind. Don't let any little tiny thing mess up your big and grand future, okay, that you have for yourself. Okay, that's how you have to start thinking. we don't want to get stuck in our sympathetic nervous system. We can continuously be in a parasympathetic nervous system. I'm continuously in my parasympathetic nervous system because I am always seeking out new opportunities. I'm always doing something new. I'm very empathetic. I'm very creative. Life energy flows from me. That is a sign that I am in my parasympathetic nervous system, and I'm so proud of myself for being there, and I want you ladies to feel that too. Or anybody watching, I want you to feel it too, and I want you to get there, and I'm going to help you get there, okay? How you feel in that state, like again, you feel calm, you feel present, compassionate, you have a clear mind, you're emotionally regulated, and that is very important, okay? Being emotionally regulated, not letting anything mess up your day. Don't let one little minor inconvenience mess up your whole week, okay? Just leave it and be like, okay, you know, that happened. Things happen, okay? Things happen, and you just got to work around them, okay? This is very crucial as well. Being in your parasympathetic nervous system is the only, okay? This is the only state where you can bond with others, okay? Where you can feel genuine love and genuine empathy, okay? Where you think clearly, okay? You notice opportunities and you go for them, okay? As well as you create instead of react, okay? So people living in their sympathetic nervous system and they're in that conscious state of survival all the time, they don't bond, okay? You cannot be in love, and you can't love if you're in your sympathetic nervous system. You might think that you're loving, but loving is not a feeling. It is an action, okay? So if your actions are proving otherwise, you can say you love someone so much, I don't care. If your actions are not showing it, you do not love that person. People in their sympathetic nervous system are not bonding. They're using you for survival, okay? And that's, a lot of people are in survival mode, okay? So you have to remember this. Not everybody has the same light and consciousness as you. Not everybody has the same level of spiritual and physical awareness that you do. A lot of people are on very low emotional states. Unfortunately, because they haven't done that work, they haven't got there yet, okay? So it's very important to know this and walk through life like this, knowing that people are living from their sympathetic nervous system and not taking anything personally, okay? So find people who are in their parasympathetic nervous system and find people who can emotionally regulate instead of trying to make somebody emotionally regulate when they don't even know how to emotionally regulate themselves, okay? You are not somebody's fixer. That is what Jesus does, or that is what Source does, whatever your belief is. Now we get into the fun part, okay? Why is this important for manifestation, okay? So why is this important for manifestation? This is important because you don't magically start manifesting because you start thinking more positively, or you start waking up at 5 a.m. or you start going to bed at like 8 p.m. instead of 10. Like, yeah, those are small changes that will definitely help over time. But without the mindset, nothing will change, okay? Because you could do something for a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months, but if you stop doing it, it's just not going to work out. And like there can be times where you're not doing something for a little bit. That doesn't mean that you stopped. There could be times where you stopped doing something for a little bit, but that doesn't mean you gave up, okay? That just means life got busy or something happened, okay? But if you still have it in the back of your mind to do it and you go and do it, okay, that is still progress, okay? I think we get caught up in thinking that everything has to be picture perfect, but no, it takes time to get to where we want to be, and continuous change is more than not changing, okay? That's more than enough. You will start to manifest by the way you feel, okay? By what, this is like so crazy to me. Like, I think this is like the coolest stuff ever. Like, psychology and like neuroscience has always been my strong suit, and I love this kind of stuff because like, oh my gosh, you can actually change your reality. You can change your world. There's nothing in this world that you can't change. This reality is an illusion, okay? And it is what you are in your brain, okay? You can change your reality by this thing here, okay? You need to become better and get in your parasympathetic nervous system so you can look for those opportunities, so you can finally take that risk, okay? So your body feels safe enough to go to that point, okay? That's important. That's super important to get into that system so that you're not in survival. You won't be able to attract. You won't be able to get things done. That's why people continuously, like, they try so hard to do something, but then they just do the exact opposite because they're not realizing that they're in their sympathetic nervous system. And until you can figure out how to get yourself out of that, it's just going to be continuous, like, destruction, okay? So when you're in your parasympathetic mode, yeah, again, you'll notice more opportunities, you'll communicate better, you'll make healthier choices, a lot healthier choices. And also people will start responding to you different. People will start respecting you because you respect you. When you have an energy of, I respect myself, I don't deal with BS, and like actually embody that, you won't attract people who deal with that because your boundaries won't even let them get close. Okay, so boundaries is very important too. You'll start to trust yourself. I don't think I would be here and be able to be doing YouTube if I didn't trust myself. If I didn't trust my own gut, if I wasn't in my parasympathetic nervous system, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be here making YouTube videos for you guys. I wouldn't be working and creating a better future for myself for 5-10 years down the line if I wasn't in my parasympathetic nervous system. I'd be just learning how to survive. I'd be couch potatoing and not really doing anything because I can't, right? And also you have to be very, 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 you have to be super duper loving to yourself. You have to give yourself some grace. Switching is very difficult. Like the in between of like trying to get into that, it takes a lot of work. Like, and sometimes it can take years, but it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Okay, like keep the destination in your mind, but don't try to rush and get there, and don't give up on yourself. Okay, because when you give up on yourself, that's when there's no hope again. Okay, so don't give up on yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Rest, because this is a very strong thing your body has to go through. Your body is learning something new. It's learning a whole new nervous system. Okay, something that you might not even have felt, because you're bouncing. You can bounce from them, but sometimes people are stuck in them, and sometimes people go from parasympathetic to sympathetic, and you can be in both. You can be in one and then switch to the other, and you don't even know when you're in it. Knowing what they each are, you can catch yourself, right? You can start taking deep breaths. Okay, let me get myself back into the parasympathetic nervous system so that I'm not stressing out, so that I'm not taking things to heart, right? Okay, so your results change, and it's not magic, it's literally biology. Okay, that is the science behind why manifestation works. Okay, so we are biologically made to love and connect. Okay, that's what we're made for. Okay, like if you see animals, like a lot of animals, they can procreate very fast. Okay, and they can have like litters. Like cats can have like 9 babies. I know there's like this one spider that like holds like freaking like 10,000 babies, or like or even turtles and stuff. They hatch a lot of eggs, right? But as humans, we take a very long time to create, right? It takes 9 months for a baby to form in the body, okay? And then you're taking care of that kid for 18 years, okay? Animals, a lot of the times, once you're grown, you're on your own, right? Like, or even if you're like, once you start walking, you gotta go, right? You gotta leave, right? Animals are not meant to love and connect. Like they can, right? But like, that's not their main focus. Our main focus is to love and connect with each other, because majority of our time, we are loving and connecting to something, right? We're loving and connecting to our children, to our families, to everything. That's why it's so important to know this, because we are meant to love and connect. Okay, so we're all wired for healthy connections. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay, you are wired and you deserve a healthy connection. That is what we are here for, to love each other and to serve one another. Okay, so when your body feels safe, your life expands. When it feels threatened, your world will shrink. Okay, you're not going to be able to look for those opportunities. Okay, so you're going to have an identity collapse. I know that sounds super scary, okay, but it installs the new identity that you're walking in. Okay, so nothing in your life will change until you become absolutely disgusted with the version of yourself that you do not want to be. Okay, that life will lead you to what you don't want. Okay, and we do not want that. Okay, so you have to become totally disgusted with that version of yourself. Okay, tell her or him goodbye. That's not who you are. That is just what you were accustomed to. Okay, we can all change. You have to be very uncomfortable with that version so that you can start living a better life and you can become the person that you want to become in life. Okay, people don't attract what they want. Okay, they attract who they are. You attract who you are. So that's why you always got to get in that meditative mode. Okay, meditation, people, meditation. Okay, start meditating. Start getting into that system. I don't care how messy your day is. You find a way. You better find a way for you, okay? Start cutting some stuff out. You gotta make a way, because no one's gonna make a way for you except you, okay? So figure it out. You attract who you are being. You'll become a magnet, okay? Also, your old coping mechanisms will stop working, okay? So addictions, patterns, you won't even want to go to them anymore because your old self is dying, okay? It's literally gonna die. So that's why it's painful. It's a death. It's an ego death, okay? It's not easy. That's why a lot of people resist it. But when you resist it, your future self will hate you if you keep on resisting that kind of change. Toxic friends or family members you will no longer connect with. And you will lose a lot of people because a lot of those people are not willing to heal. This is your journey. You want better or what? Old self concepts feel very restrictive. So like insecurities, mindsets, you start to think different. You're like, hey, like actually I don't even feel that way about myself, or that's not really nice. You'll start catching yourself when you speak down on yourself, when you speak badly of yourself. You'll start being like, hey, like who told me that? Like that's not true. Okay, so your nervous system realizes this identity no longer serves me, and it doesn't keep me safe, okay? And it will continue to block you from the life that you actually want to live and the life that you're supposed to be living. The life that you want, the life that is yours, the life that you're getting called towards is out there, okay? You just have to follow yourself. Trust your gut, okay? Because you'll be amazed when you trust yourself. You will always want to trust yourself. Get into the habit of trusting yourself, okay? So those dreams and urges, those aren't just there so you can wish and ponder on a better future, okay? Literally, your future self is calling you towards it, okay? You'll start to get very sick of your old habits, and everything will just start to dissatisfy you. Like you won't feel the urge to do those things anymore. They won't satisfy you because that's not where you're supposed to be, right? You're going to getting called to higher things. So you're going to have to drop some things along the way so you can welcome in new. It will push you to be curious, right? You'll want more out of life. It can feel very discomforting, right? This is the hard part. And difficult feelings will arise. That's not a sign that you're failing. That's a sign that your old identity is loosening. That is exactly what we want, okay? This is what we need you to do so you can evolve, right? As human beings, we are evolving continuously, so you have to evolve. You outgrow the version of yourself that keeps you small. Regulation comes before expansion, so you have to learn how to regulate your emotions. Like, you cannot grow when you don't feel safe. Your brain can't tell the difference. It can't. Your brain cannot tell the difference, okay? So unless you train it to. So most people feel genuinely desire these things, okay? Like love, financial stability, being seen, meaning, right? Belonging. That is what we naturally want as human beings. But their nervous system often interprets those experiences as increased vulnerability, okay? Possible rejection, okay? Great responsibility that you might not want or you're scared of, or less predictability, right? As humans, we don't like those things. But doing those things and getting to those places, you have to be open and you have to have these things. You have to be less predictable sometimes, and that's okay. That doesn't mean the world is ending, okay? Curiosity is very important, okay? Always be open to new, okay? Because the way that you're living right now, it might not be the best way for you, right? There's other ways of doing things. You have to destroy the old to create the new, just like we rebirth with Jesus, okay? You receive what you have the capacity to handle. Capacity is built when you're regulating before you react, okay? So when you stay present in your discomfort instead of trying to escape it, okay? Meditation. When you let good things happen without sabotaging yourself, okay? This is where true power comes from. This is real power, guys, okay? You have access to your parasympathetic nervous system. That is power, okay? And knowing how to return to it is powerful because nothing can get in your way. You're like, that is where real power actually comes from, not this fake power that the world pushes towards, because that's an illusion. This looks like staying calm under pressure, grounded when something pisses you off, okay? Emotional stability is important, and you will not let anybody come and try to take you off your high horse because you made the horse. No, I'm just kidding. You don't chase, you become someone who can hold more without collapsing. That is important, okay? Lastly, before I close off this video, attention breeds reality. So this is because your brain is building your world around your consistency constantly, okay? Whatever it focuses on, you're going to bring into your life, okay? Whether it's good for you or not, okay? You don't have a choice. You either make good choices or you make bad ones. Your brain is a prediction machine. It literally filters reality based on what it believes is relevant, okay? So make sure you're around those people, okay? If you want to become the 6th millionaire, you have to be hanging around 5. If you want to become the 6th drunk, you're going to be hanging around 5, okay? Your environment is so important. If you're hanging around fools, you will become a fool, okay? You do not want to become a fool. Don't let yourself become a fool, okay? Push yourself towards better habits, better environments, better people, so that you can create the life that you really want to live, and you have something to leave for your family, and you have an empire that is built on stability and parasympathetic nervous system, not on survival and trauma. We don't want a family to be brought up in survival and trauma. We want to create new for our future generations, okay? So I'm very grateful that you took your time to listen to this video. I guarantee you anything that I say on my channel will push you and it will make you better. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm here to help people get better. So I'm glad that you listened to this. This is a really big step in changing. This is a big step for you, and I'm so proud of you for making it to the end of this video. Continue to do good, and this is the step next to what you're supposed to be doing, okay? This is a big step, and I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to listen to me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.